who the hell knows with these things? It seems like there's no real rhyme or reason. But if there ever was a case for an appeal, he's got it. He 100% has it. He's also, unfortunately, probably been robbed of millions of dollars, because if he wins that fight, the rematch is even bigger. Now, to his point, there's a rematch clause that Gervonta...
Sure, but I actually understand why the New York State Athletic Commission did not want to overturn the result. Basically, they're saying that rounds 10, 11, and 12, they don't know how Gervonta Davis and even Lamont Roach would have adjusted to their fighting strategies and all that if a knockdown had been scored. Obviously, that changes the trajectory of the fight when you have a point deduction.
Tank stepped into the ring against Lamont Roach, expecting another dominant performance. But instead of an easy victory, he walked away with controversy. Since then, he's faced heavy backlash, with many fans believing he should have lost the fight. And it doesn't stop there. His ongoing legal troubles might push him out of the sport sooner than expected.
They upheld the draw, but they said the referee should have counted as a knockdown. So they said it was a knockdown, but they wasn't going to change the decision.
To be fair, this isn't entirely shocking. Tank had already hinted that 2025 would be his final year in boxing. The difference now is that it might not be his decision. Right from the start, Tank's confidence was on full display. He told Roach straight up, "You're not going to win," as if he had already decided the outcome. But when the fight went the full distance, it was clear things hadn't gone as planned. That's exactly why the heat is coming his way.
And that's what has brought around all the heat to his corner.
Look at this, how they go off of Gervonta Davis taking a knee and then going midway, Steve Willis, doing the 4 count and then stops it.
That was crazy.
And then they allow it, and then they call it a draw, and then they say they try to overturn it, but they can't overturn it. It's already done. The gig is up. And then they keep it a draw, but they change the rules.
If I'm a boxer, if I get dropped, I'm gonna tell the ref to stop.
Yeah.
Tank did it.
Yeah.
Hey, stop. No.
Yeah, you gotta finish that count.
Yeah.
When Floyd got hurt, he hurt his hand, and one of his hands, I don't even think he touched the canvas, but they started right away, giving him the 8 count.
Yeah.
Give him a 10 count at least. He beat it. But this is my problem with today's sport of boxing, is that everyone's changing their sanctioning rules, and they make them, and they create them. But
the judges called the fight a draw. And while Davis may have been okay with that, Roach's team wasn't. Almost immediately, they pushed to overturn the result, arguing that Roach had done enough to win. However, after reviewing the case, the commission ruled that the draw would stand. That should have ended the dispute, but Roach's team wasn't ready to move on. Instead, they brought up a different issue, one that could have serious consequences for Davis. During the fight, Tank did something that caught the attention of fans, analysts, and now the commission. He took a knee and signaled for a towel, essentially asking for a timeout. But that's not how boxing works. The rules are crystal clear and explained to every fighter before they step into the ring.
Clearly written and told to the fighters before the fight.
Comes out from a punch, quick rinse, back in. Don't throw anything into the ring. You need my attention for anything, go through the inspectors. Okay. Just another fight. That's it. Just another fight. No need to get too deep about it. All right, just another fight. All right, been here before, know what it's all about. So I'll see you in the ring.
There are no timeouts, no breaks for a breather. When a fighter takes a knee, it's up to the referee to count and decide if they can continue. And that's the core of the legal trouble Tank is now facing. According to Lamont Roach's legal team, what Davis did was against the rules, and he wasn't held accountable. To them, it's another example of how the sport protects its biggest stars. Their argument? Tank, being a fan favorite, avoided a harsh ruling to keep his status intact. They believe he should face real consequences, even if that means losing.
That should have been an 8 count. The ref is a very professional ref. He's one of the best in the world, but he made a big mistake right there. He helped the star, and when you know who the star is and who you're protecting, you still have to be fair, man. You still have to be fair because Roach walked away with a draw, but he should have been champion right now. And even though they already promised him a rematch, they already told him, I'm pretty sure they already told him how much he's gonna make in the rematch. He's still not a champion right now, and he should. Sometimes fighters prefer being a world champion than getting the big purse, because being a world champion is something special to them. And, you know, even though Roach is already a world champion at 130, but moving up to being a two division champion, beating somebody like Tank is huge for him, for his career, for his family, for his trainer, for everybody. I think that should have been a knockdown.
And if there's anyone fueling the fire, it's Ryan Garcia. Never one to stay quiet on boxing controversies, Garcia had plenty to say during his appearance on the Ring Champs podcast with AK and Barack. He didn't hold back, criticizing Davis's performance against Roach and questioning the legitimacy of the result. Tank did what he always does. He gave away rounds, Garcia said. Lamont had an answer for everything. Every time Tank tried to turn it up, Roach came right back. I felt like Roach boxed perfectly. For Garcia, the issue wasn't just the scoring, it was how Tank fought. He felt Davis lacked aggression and that Roach had figured him out, making it a fight that should have had a different outcome.
Sharp year, you know, anything can happen.
Yo, Ryan, what do you think about the knockdown? The knockdown with Tank?
That was a knockdown, you know, without a doubt. You can't spin it no other way. It's too clear. And I think the commission needs to do something about it, because it can give me an incentive, you know, anytime I'm not feeling good in a fight, take a knee.
Well, they said
and that's not a shot at Tank. I respect Tank, and I like Tank a lot. But
more importantly, Garcia called on the commission to take action over the knee incident. I thought Lamont won, Garcia continued, and I think the commission has to do something about that knee. If they don't, then what's stopping anyone from taking a knee whenever they want? They have to set a precedent. I mean, they came down on me, so why not Tank? Rules are rules. As the controversy grew, Lamont Roach Jr. also spoke out. But unlike Garcia, his approach was more measured.
Man, he got lucky as a draw. He did a good fight though. I thought he won it, but man, he gotta just create more action. That's a sparring session as far as I'm concerned. Oh my God! But God damn, that's not the Gervonta I know.
Watched the fight. We had a show that night. I haven't watched the full fight. One thing that's kind of baffling is that it wasn't a knockdown. I mean, look, he wasn't hurt. There's no doubt about that. But if you take a knee in the fight and you touch down, whilst punches are being thrown, it has to be a knockdown. I've heard some people saying, oh, that, you know, he should be disqualified. He went back to the corner. I don't buy that, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that's a warning, but it's a bit of a bizarre situation for me. Like, there was a lot of people in boxing that were saying that this is a really tough fight. Like, Lamont Roach is a serious fighter. I said it might not be the biggest profile fight, but it's actually quite a tough fight. And Shakur said to me, like, even the day before, I'm telling you, he's going to have big trouble tomorrow night. And I just feel like hopefully this could be...
Speaking on the Come and Talk to Me podcast, Roach defended Davis's skills, but made sure to highlight how tough the fight was for both men. I want people to know he was on his game that night, Roach said. Just because he didn't meet expectations doesn't mean he fought a bad fight. People saying he's trash or overrated, he's still a great fighter. While it sounded like respect, there was an underlying message in Roach's words. He wants the world to believe he faced the best version of Tank Davis, not a fighter in decline. If the narrative shifts to Tank losing a step, it takes away. So, while Roach defended Davis's ability, he made sure to keep the spotlight on his own performance. Meanwhile, opinions from others in the boxing world continue to roll in. Promoter Eddie Hearn weighed in, arguing that Davis shouldn't be disqualified over the knee incident. But public perception was already shifting against him. If the commission let him off easy, it would fuel accusations of favoritism. But if they punished him too harshly, it could be seen as an overreaction. Either way, Tank was... And just when it seemed things couldn't get any more complicated, UFC legend Jon Jones entered the conversation. Widely regarded as one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time, Jones made a surprising offer to Davis. The two had met before, sparking discussions in combat sports, but this time, Jones had something different in mind in a video that quickly spread on social media. Jones invited Tank to try MMA, even offering to train him personally. When are we getting you in the cage? Jones asked, I'll teach you myself. grappling, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, everything. It'll be easy for you, bro. With those hands, nobody wants to see them. It was a daring move, but not exactly shocking. Jones has always been a big supporter of crossover fights, and with Davis now facing serious trouble in boxing, switching to MMA might start to look like an appealing fresh start. While Tank didn't officially commit to anything, his response caught everyone's attention. Let's do it. I'm willing to do it. That one statement set off a storm of speculation. If Davis is seriously thinking about stepping into MMA, it would be one of the biggest crossovers in combat sports history. And with Dana White openly discussing the idea of bringing the UFC's business model into boxing, the timing of it all couldn't be more interesting. People aren't ready to count Tank out just yet is because of the number of fights lined up for him. First, the rematch with Roach isn't just a possibility, it's a necessity. If the referee had ruled Davis's knee a knockdown, Lamont Roach Jr. would have secured the biggest win of his career, and the boxing world wouldn't be in such an uproar. But that didn't happen, and now the only way to settle the controversy is to run it back. And let's not forget, the rematch was already a mandatory condition in case of a draw or a loss for Tank. According to reports, both camps have agreed, and a potential fight date is set for June 21st in Las Vegas. The fact that this rematch is happening so quickly shows just how much demand there is for a definitive conclusion. There's no belt dispute, no mandatory obligations, just an overwhelming sense that this fight needs a clear winner. What makes it even more intriguing is how people now view Davis compared to before. Before their first fight, Roach Jr. was seen as an underdog who had already exceeded expectations. Now, many believe he should have won the fight, and that completely changes the narrative. Fighters who prove they belong at the top often enter rematches with even more confidence, and that's exactly what Roach is counting on. This time, he doesn't need to prove himself, he just needs to finish the job. Meanwhile, Davis finds himself in unfamiliar territory. He's no longer the undeniable favorite. His performance against Roach Jr. raised real concerns about whether he's past his prime. Even among his supporters, doubts are starting to creep in. And it's not just fans talking. Fighters are questioning it too. Rising undefeated prospect Julian Gonzalez, who initially thought Davis would dominate, has changed his stance. I think I had Lamont Roach. I'm not gonna lie, Gonzalez admitted. But I wasn't mad at the draw. I'm rocking with Lamont though. He surprised me a lot. It's easy to see why. Roach has now proven he's a legitimate threat to Tank, and Tank knows it. Maybe that's why he's hesitating to talk about the rematch. And Gonzalez isn't the only one. Many in the boxing world who once saw Davis as nearly unstoppable are beginning to see cracks in his game. That aura of invincibility is starting to fade, and Roach Jr. is in position to shatter it completely. The real question is, how will Davis respond? If he truly believes Roach Jr. was never on his level, this rematch is the perfect chance to prove it. If he's still the same knockout machine who built his career dismantling opponents, then he should win without question. But if Roach Jr. really does have him figured out, this could be the fight that confirms what many are starting to suspect. Tank Davis isn't the same fighter he used to be. Lamont Roach Jr. isn't letting up, and neither are the fans. The controversy surrounding his fight with Tank Davis just won't die down, and Roach is making sure it stays in the spotlight. The official decision was a majority draw, but Roach has made it clear he believes he won, and he's not backing down. Since the fight, he's been everywhere on major podcasts and interviews and all over social media, keeping the pressure on Davis and the Boxing Commission. But this week, he took it to another level. He went straight at Tank's fanbase with a viral post that stirred up even more debate. Within hours, the post had over 215,000 views. 2 days later, it had over 425 comments, mostly from Davis supporters who weren't happy with Roach's confidence that it's classic fight promotion, and Roach knows exactly what he's doing. By calling out Tank's fans directly, he's making sure this conversation doesn't fade. The more people argue about the fight,